everybody. Welcome to the HorrorQuest Podcast. Kind of excited today because we have on a friend of mine who I've known for a really long time, probably since like 2006 or something like that. But before I do that, I want to give a couple quick shout-outs. Number one is to, you probably heard it at the start of the show, the little commercial at the start of the show, but we have our first sponsor for this year, and that's Thorn Web Design. So definitely check them out if you can. Also, I want to give a quick shout-out to Casey Ryan and the Cutting Room Floor. He's been doing a real good job about pushing our Indiegogo campaign. So if you get a chance to listen to him on TalkShoe, just type in the Cutting Room Floor and check them out. It's a really good show. They have on some really cool guests, so definitely check that out. And also this website called Genre Film Festival Daily. They put our Indiegogo campaign on their headline page, so I want to say big thanks to them for helping us out and supporting us and all that good stuff. But anyway, that's kind of boring. And I also want to apologize up front. If I start doing it during the middle of the show, I've been watching the Batman the Dark Knight Rises trailer over and over. So if I ever just start chanting that freaking Bane theme, just ignore it. I got it stuck in my head. For whatever reason, I just start going Batalo, Bane, just turn it down or, turn it off and turn back in, and, hopefully I'll be done with it. But anyway, to our guest today is my good friend, Jon Watt. Hey, John.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Me and John have known each other for a long time. We started working together a few years ago, and I don't know, maybe you can answer this better than I did, but did we even like each other when we first met?
Well, I think I was probably one of the only ones that actually liked you, and I think everybody else wasn't quite sure what to think about you. I think you might have been intimidating. So as you came in, you were not. You were just really quiet, and then you came in and you had, I think right after you got hired, you got all your tattoos and all that. I think a lot of people I kind of threw a few people off, so they weren't quite sure what to think about that. But no, I think we did, because I think probably the first things that kind of came out of both our mouths were about movies and stuff. So I think we just kind of hit it off that way. So no, yeah. I don't think it was anything that was I didn't like you. I understood you probably, I guess, different than everybody. And I think everybody was kind of, they had the appearance first, and then, but I was like, nah, Joe's a harmless guy, so.
But yeah, I think most of our friendship came over quoting Dick Tracy lines. So that, and there's a lot of quotation of Big Trouble in Little China. And I think the funniest thing I ever heard you say, and it probably made me laugh for about 4 hours, was that stupid quote. What is it? Is it like that? You play your cards right, you live to talk about it. Whatever that guy says to, what's her name in Big Trouble in Little China, that just, cracked me up. And half the time, and then when we would, talk about stuff, we were the only ones that, kind of knew what we were even talking about. So we would just sit there and chuckle, and everybody would, kind of be, oblivious to what we were laughing about. But yeah, I think our friendship kind of grew out of that, and also, kind of similar interests in filmmaking and stuff like that, which is why I invited you on today. And also, I kind of feel bad about this, because I invited you on to talk about your film, a.k.a. Blondie, and the reason why I did. Now, this show is kind of dedicated to horror filmmaking. All the guests we've had on have been, either actors in horror movies, or directors and writers and producers in horror movies. And your movie is not a horror movie at all. But the reason why I wanted to have you on was kind of like a little bit of an apology, because I guess it was about a year and a half ago now, when you were trying to raise money for the movie. At the time, it wasn't like I wasn't planning on doing it, but at the time I had pledged that I would give you $2,000 to help you make the movie.
Yeah. I think you were just trying to help that. Well, I don't know if it was that much. I think you were just trying to help donate, just in general. I do remember that. I remember you were saying that, and then I think you had some stuff kind of happen. I think you were kind of in between a couple of things. I know that. I know it kind of fell in and out, and then you're like, no, I still want to donate, kind of do all this stuff and all that. So, yeah. So I think it was kind of like it was there, and then it wasn't, then it came back.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember. And hey, we're trying to finish the film, so by all means, if you're feeling frisky. We got to take it to a post house and kind of do all that. So that's going to take a little bit of money, but we'll see what we can do.
But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of the reason why I had you on, because I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your movie and give people a chance to learn about it, because it is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell people a little bit about it. Like, what is it about?
Yeah. Well, as far as any kind of the horror aspects, maybe when people think of the Claremont Lounge, maybe they think of like kind of like a horror show. It's definitely not like a Dawn of the Dead where it's you got your Salma Hayek character kind of there dancing for you at first. It's pretty much after that. It's after they turn and after they turn into vampires. It's pretty much all the stuff that happens after that. So that's pretty much like what people think of the Claremont. It's more of like there's the famous where strippers go to die kind of thing. I've definitely heard that, and our subject has heard that, and pretty much kind of the Atlanta population. But getting onto it, I mean they're pretty much the film is it's just a character study of a dancer at the Claremont Lounge named Blondie. And Blondie's she's been dancing for over 30 years. I think she's kind of getting on like 34, 35 years now. When we started, it was about 32. So, but, basically it's just, it's a feature documentary just about her and her life. I mean, Blondie's, she's been there, and she's been at this place. I mean, the Claremont Lounge is the oldest strip club in Atlanta, so she's been dancing there for a while. And, I mean, it was kind of one of those things where, I kind of had learned about her actually, with you, Joe. I mean, you actually went with me one of the first times I ever went there. So we kind of had to experience the Claremont Lounge, and actually the oldest stripper there. I mean, Blondie's not the oldest, but she's one of the oldest. But actually the oldest stripper there, Portia, was talking to you about her peach cobbler and all that.
Yeah, we might have to tell that story a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that story. But yeah, I mean, and that was, I mean, we went there for my 25th birthday. I mean, you were there with me, and that was, one of the funnest times I've ever had. And what was so great about it is I'd never experienced that world of this. I've been to a strip club before, but never anything of that kind of, caliber, I guess. I mean, because it was just this crazy place of, these just old strippers where, I mean, I think the youngest one was probably like 30. And, but the rest, I mean, they varied from like in their 40s, 50s, and then like one of them is still there, actually, Portia. I mean, she's still dancing. She's like 65. So pretty much that's kind of like the whole reason why I thought this place was interesting. And more importantly, on my 25th birthday when you were there, I mean, I got to actually meet Blondie for the first time. And, she was there. She was kind of doing her thing. I thought her name was Goldie. Yeah. I thought pretty much I had heard something about that, about like, oh, there's a stripper named Goldie or something like that. And that was my assumption there. I was like, so I was looking, I think I even called her that in the first place, and she's like, no, my name's Blondie. But no, I mean, pretty much after a lot of, kind of drinking that night, I mean, it was my birthday and all that, I actually, like, kind of what I tend to do if I had a few to drink, I tend to kind of wander off. And so I think all of y'all, I mean, you were there with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, Brantley. And I think all of y'all were kind of talking and doing something, and then I had wandered off, which is what I tend to do, and I found Blondie. And so from what I was told is that we were talking for about a good 45 minutes or so, and just, I don't know about what. I mean, really. I mean, she read me some poetry. I remember briefly a little bit about that, but as far as everything else, it's kind of blank. But I remember Brantley had found me, and she came and she was trying to ask about, kind of what was going on in the conversation. And Blondie actually got pissed at her and started, like, getting in her face. And I was like, whoa, chill out, kind of all this. And that was really, really funny to me now that I think about it. But, and of course, like, Blondie doesn't really remember that story and doesn't remember meeting me the first time. I mean, she's met so many people. But I still remember kind of what was going on at the time. I mean, I remember enough. And I pretty much ever since then, I mean, it was just this kind of whole idea I kind of kept in my head for a few years. And so I went back a couple of times, and, I something about her, with her poetry and kind of this whole story I felt like she had to tell. And so I just kind of went for it. And, it was beginning of, the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, I was talking to Brantley about it. I said, look, I really want to do this story about that stripper Blondie. And, Brantley was totally like, oh, absolutely. And, but I needed help. And, and Brantley was totally on board for it. And so that's pretty much kind of how it all started. We just started doing research. I mean, and, for a lot of people that don't know, I mean, I'm directing the film, but, my wife is my partner in all this. So she kind of wrote the whole interview that we did with Blondie, and, I kind of directed the whole thing. But, I mean, we started in the beginning, I mean, just going to the Claremont about 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, it was just kind of this whole getting to know that kind of atmosphere and talking with the owner of the club and meeting the different girls. And we met so many interesting people. I mean, you go there on a Tuesday night and, you could meet a celebrity or something. I mean, I met Lady Gaga that way, which was kind of interesting. I mean, that just happened, late last year. So it's kind of random how that happens. But, no, we just started doing a story. I wanted to do a one-on-one kind of with all this and, just kind of do a face-to-face interview with Blondie and really just kind of get more of the person kind of who's not at work and kind of tell that side of the story. Everybody knows her as Blondie, but I wanted to kind of, show a little bit of that personal side, which was very, very hard. I think if anybody's kind of curious to see, like, that whole process, it was really difficult because she's very guarded. And people will really come to notice that when they see the film is that, we got in there, she let us in, but it was really hard. And, she still, I think she keeps a couple things reserved, which is normal for a lot of people. I mean, they don't want to show everything. And, we just kind of went for it. And, we did a fundraiser to kind of raise a little bit of money for the film. And so that was all, I mean, this all started at the beginning of 2009, and we just wrapped up all of our filming and all that stuff and editing, and that was late last year, 2011. So I mean, we finished the film, but it's all based on a long, 10-hour interview we did with Blondie, and we interviewed a lot of friends of hers and and colleagues, and not really any family, but I mean, we found some interesting stuff that people will be interested to see. But so it kind of developed from doing research to what it is now, and it's like a 3-year-long project, and so many people have gotten on board and supported, and it's just been it's just been a really cool experience so far. So
yeah, I mean, we kind of glossed over it there at the beginning, but for people who don't know, the Claremont Lounge is this little. It's basically a strip club, but unlike other strip clubs, people don't really go there for the strippers. I mean, it's basically just like a bar that has some old women dancing naked sometimes, and so it's if you're in the Atlanta area, you owe it to yourself to go at least once, but it's not like your regular strip club. It's more, people go there mainly to like dance and drink, and the strippers are kind of secondary. I mean, I honestly don't even know how they make money dancing there, but Blondie is kind of the main one, and of course Portia, which I had my run in with, but you kind of said it that she is kind of guarded, and I remember one of the last times I talked to you, we were it was right after HorrorQuest had wrapped up, and we were sitting at the Park Tavern, and you were telling me how, like, the hardest thing, has been, to get her to open up, because I don't know, maybe you can solve this or go into it more, but that you were kind of having a little bit of a problem getting everything together, just because, the documentary that people want to see is about, the person behind Blondie, not necessarily, the character of Blondie, right?
Right. Yeah, it is hard because pretty much what people will figure out is that, she's been, I think she keeps up this guard because, she's been this character for so long. It's kind of like, she doesn't really know what else to do. So, as far as, there's so many like little tidbits and details, obviously, I could go into, but I definitely want people to see it for themselves. But it's been difficult because, you think you're kind of getting into her head a little bit, and she's definitely told us more and shown us more than, than anybody else. Even close friends of hers and close, not necessarily family, but it's not really blood family, but she has close people that she's with that she considers family. The only family that she has is, her mother's still alive, her father still isn't, but that's pretty much it. She's got some stuff kind of around, but yeah, she's gotten to show us more than she has shown anybody, and I think it was really hard for her to do that, and we really appreciate it. So I think going into anything else, it's kind of, it's kind of like a respect thing, because, she's already let us in so much, and she thinks she's giving us all this, but even though we tried to get as much as we could, we figured that she gave us enough. And that was pretty much the end of how we wrapped this whole thing, was that, she, we basically had this checklist of stuff we wanted to talk to her about. And, she finally did, and she abided by everything, and, that was kind of the way it ended. So it ended on a very intimate and a very sweet note, but very, a lot. It was like a kind of a big kind of emotional thing for her to do, to let us in. She talked about a lot, but showing it is a lot different, if that makes sense. So, we were able to get this. She talked about, she'll talk about anything. She'll talk about anything personal if you really let her. It depends, I guess. Not really personal family details, but, she'll talk a lot about, what she went through and kind of all this stuff. But as far as anything else in regards to actually showing it physically, that's a whole other story. And that was the biggest part of what we realized in the beginning, was that, she would talk about it till she was blue in the face. And Blondie loves to talk, believe me. I can't get off the phone after an hour, and even get a word in, but which is great if it's a subject, but actually her showing it, it's kind of tough. So in the beginning, she did a lot of kind of manipulation on her part because she still wasn't so 100% with us. But I think at least in the end, she was, I'll let him in a little bit, and that's really all we wanted. So it was tough, but I'm, totally happy the way things turned out in the end.
Yeah, you said something about her, her mother's still alive. Were you actually able to, interview her mother, or were there, certain, people and things that were kind of off the table?
Yeah, it's more off the table. We knew that her mother's not in the country. Her mother's in the Virgin Islands. So her mother's not even in. So we definitely thought about it. It was kind of all the stuff in the beginning, but it was more of this was more of a kind of off the table kind of thing. We found a little bit of stuff. But no, as far as